fun. Another Tony's Awards come and gone. A new season on Broadway has begun. Very exciting stuff. Very, very exciting. So, Tony Awards. Hi, hello. They happened this past Sunday. Today is the 21st, so that was like what, June 16th, June 17th, somewhere around there, 2024. And the Tony Awards. They are an evening that all eyes are on the theater industry. They're our most visible evening. Now, I'm not going to say that they are non-problematic. I think the Tony Awards are something that are held to a great high esteem, but also we have to recognize that there's flaws to the system of the Tony nominations and the voting process and the politics and the money, and there's all sorts of stuff that goes into it. But that's for another day. That's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about the award show itself. What happened? What was it like? What are people saying? Who won the big things? What did they say in their speeches? Breakdowns of those performances and how we feel about them. So let's do it. Let's dive in. Why wait, right? Okay, let's talk about that opening number for a second. Talked with a lot of people about the Tony Awards, and people seem to agree with me that the opening number was a little too chill. Such chill vibes. We're used to big splashy opening numbers for the Tony Awards, especially when they're infused with high amounts of energy, comedy, and that's not what we got this time around. It was kind of a relaxed musical vibe. The lyrics were also pretty difficult to hear as well. Um, yeah, I think it felt a little lackluster to me. Not that the dancing wasn't phenomenal, though. Those dancers were working, and it was great. And it's not that the song on the whole was just bad. I do want to say that. A couple lines stood out to me that I wrote down. Yes, I took notes during the Tonys. Hi, I run a musical theater channel. Of course I did. Film and TV will make you famous, but theater will make you better, which is actually a quote of someone else, I believe. And then I think the idea of the hook, the party's for you, this party's for you, is a lovely, welcoming idea. So I don't think the idea was wrong, but that opening number just didn't really deliver a big splashy Tony's Broadway moment for me, and for a lot of people I spoke to. Um, Ariana DeBose back for a third year running. Now, in terms of the the host choice, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about Ariana over the years. Because again, year three. But last year, I just wanted, before I say anything else about Ariana and this year, I do want to say that number one, doing it without a script last year, she did a phenomenal job and she kind of saved the show. Let's be real about that. Um, like we can't discredit how talented she is. Uh, Also, the I've heard a lot of people question why Ariana DeBose. I don't know that I have a specific answer to that. I like her. I like her a lot. I don't know. I don't know that anyone's ever actually given an answer to why Ariana and why we keep bringing her back. But I do enjoy her. I like her. I also think they didn't give her a lot of time on this year's Tonys. She seemed to not really get the opportunity to truly host. The host job is to host, but she mostly wasn't around during the broadcast. And I thought that was very, very odd. So for people who were saying that they didn't enjoy her hosting this year, I would just offer that forward as like, did she really even get the opportunity, or was she kind of pulled back in her role this year, which is again what it felt like. I do love that at the top of the award show here, she kind of gave a truth though about the reality of the industry, and like the recognition of how this industry operates and the struggles that it's going through, but in a way that felt uplifted. I thought that was both a smart choice and also a really lovely way to just say, hey, we all understand. We're all in this room. We're all in the industry. We all get it. And also, let's celebrate tonight. Also, she's funny. I do want to point that out too. I love love her being saying, Eden, paint me like one of your French girls, sister. I thought that was delightful. So I'm not gonna talk too much about Ariana and the hosting here. The other thing that I thoroughly enjoyed of hers that was a fun joke was that she was writing a musical 3 hours no intermission based on my BAFTA rap. Come on, that's a good joke. That's a very good joke. Anyway, we also had a lovely moment of three Black women passing the mic to one another right at the top of the broadcast. And like no deal of any sort was made about that, but I clocked it and it felt good and it felt important. So I just want to throw it out there. All right, let's move forward here. I don't pay much attention to fashion, and I didn't watch the red carpet, but I don't want to fully ignore that piece of it because, how people look is important at these award shows. And there are two things that really stood out to me. Besides the fact that like Ariana had phenomenal costume changes, like really great, but Ben Platt's bow tie and platform shoes, I loved, adored. Anthony Ramos, without a shirt under that beautiful suit, was a look. That was a good look. And speaking of suits, Daniel Radcliffe's suit, that color, so good, so very good. So those are the only things I took like a note on because my eye was caught by it. If you have other thoughts about the fashion of the show, please give them in the comments. I'm curious to know. I don't pay attention there. Well, let's talk about the speeches. Let's get into that piece. First of all, I just want to acknowledge so many people in this broadcast thanked people who work in this industry who don't normally get thanked. All of the call outs to front of house staff and the theater workers, the theater staff, not just the people who worked on the quote unquote production, was really lovely to see. As someone who bartended in Broadway theaters for the first couple of years I lived in New York City, that was just like very heartwarming. I adore that. Those people make the shows happen. They couldn't happen without our front of house staff. So just throwing that out there. And Jeremy Strong kind of led the charge on that with that first win, which was a stacked category, by the way. Did everyone expect him to win? I don't know that I expected him to necessarily win. I thought he might, but I didn't get to see the show. So he went well over time immediately, which was interesting. But I guess he may not be used to speaking at an award show for the theater, where we really do kind of keep it a little shorter. Although this year, I have to say, the speeches were longer on the whole. It felt like they were actually giving time for people to, I don't know, settle in a little bit to their speech, get through the things that they had to say so they could get to the important thing that they wanted to say. And I thought that was good on the whole. We had music played on people a couple of times, including Hillary Clinton. But beyond that, I think that the extra amount of time was lovely, is my thought. I'm not going to talk about all the speeches, just the highlights here. Will Brill. I adore. So Will won for Stereophonic, and I adore that the first thing he did was said there are 6 other people in this show and had them stand up for recognition on TV. I thought that was beautiful and brilliant, especially with how many people were nominated for that show. And the quote he said, he was grateful for the risk taking and said putting a bunch of nobodies on Broadway. And I think that's such an important thing to just highlight here. How often do we talk in the theater industry, especially in musical theater, about like you must have a recognizable something in order for a show to succeed? This is a 3-hour play that is not based on anything, very loosely based on Fleetwood Mac's history. From what I understand, I've not seen it. With a quote unquote a bunch of nobodies, a bunch of people without quote unquote Broadway names, have not been on Broadway before, and yet Their aim was to go straight then. And also, it's an unexpected property that gains the most nominations of any play in Tony history. Like, I think we may overemphasize that whole you need a name, you need a recognizable brand thing. Throwing it out there. Carrie Young, third nomination year in a row in that category, and the first win. How exciting. She looked fierce. Like, here's a fashion thing. She looked fierce with the hair and the necklace and the earrings. That combo, so good. So good. I loved that one of the first things she did was said, thank you to my ancestors, the women that I come from, the people that I come from. Oh, come on. We need more recognition of the people who came before us, who paved the way, both in terms of our familial ancestors and the people in the industry who blazed paths. And there was a great theme of this in the speeches this year. And then the call out that her mother went back for 2 Ivy League masters, and then thanking her. So thanked her mom for raising her while doing that, and also to her dad for helping her mom through all of that as well. And then just like the way she talks about parenting and the thank yous for just the daily life juggling of routines, that is such an important thing that I feel like we don't recognize enough. I mean, anywhere in life, let alone award shows. Because if it's not for parents or guardians doing all of that work to get people in to their passions, into their work, into the rehearsals, into their practices and their sports and activities, then no one ends up on a Broadway stage. So I thought that was lovely. What love, what dedication. Daniel Auken coming at us with a poem. That was awesome. It was very fun, very visceral, and very unexpected. I love when people do unexpected things. Daniel Tamor and The Outsiders. I love that that one of the first things she says is to the sickest design team in the world. I feel like we don't often get call outs to the design team from the directors, and I thought that was really just a lovely recognition of the world that was built. She called it a memory playground. That's a great term. I'm stealing it. Memory playground. Memory playground. Ha, I adore. And then the other quote I wrote down from her speech, which is a great speech. Go ahead and watch it. It wasn't too long either. She said, what others may see as weakness or a liability in you just may be your superpower. I love that. That's so good. What a brilliant message. And it's also true. People being themselves, the things that they're afraid of, that make them uniquely them, those are the things that tend to be their superpowers. I adore. Okay, we have to talk about Daniel Radcliffe for a second. His face when he won, gold, pure gold. Loved it. His first nomination, his first win, though I think it's his third time on Broadway, third or fourth, because there's How to Succeed, The Crippled Finishman, there's this show, Merrily, and maybe another one. I don't remember. But he because was Equus on Broadway? Or was that off? I don't remember. Third or fourth time on Broadway, first win. He is so sweet, so genuine, so down to earth, and so professional. I mean, that moment of win was just him being a person, going up on stage and showing us all how a professional can do it. And I loved it so much. There's something about his entire countenance that just warmed my heart. I also loved that he was speaking to Jonathan Groff and Lindsay Mendez and said, I don't even have to act in this show. Just look at you. Oh my God, the three of them. I can't. They're such nuggets together. They warm my heart. The friendship, the deep love that they share. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And he's, again, someone else who thanked the front of house staff. Also want to point out, he thanked his vocal teacher. Heck yes. Not the first one to do it that evening, I don't think. And then to his parents for, loving me. I thought that was great. And of course, his wife and his son as well. Keisha Lewis, first Tony Award for the Broadway veteran. She started at 18 years old on Broadway. Whoa! And first win now. I also love that she said, just such a real moment. Again, with the real moments, Lord, my phone open. People stop texting me Jesus. Just people being people, right? Not trying to uphold this like people on a pedestal thing, right? I think that's when award shows fall flat. One of the things that really drew me in this year was just all these people were being themselves, and it was beautiful, wonderful to see. It made it relatable. It made it feel like it's a doable thing for anyone in the arts to get to where they want to go. Because at the end of the day, all these people who are winning these awards are just people, really talented people with opportunities, but people. She also thanked the fierce, fabulous female thespians in this category. I don't know if she wrote that down ahead of time or if that was on the fly, but that alliteration was mwah. Thanked her ENT and her vocal coach. And then I love that she ended it with, I say to everyone who can hear my voice, don't give up. Oh, the messages throughout this entire evening, everyone. So good. Shayna Taub. Shayna Taub wins for score, as she should. Well, I guess I haven't seen all the musicals. I thought she should. Elizabeth Swados, call out to Elizabeth Swados, and Mentorship and Janine Tesori. Mentors. We don't use them enough in the theater industry, and they make such a difference. I'm so happy she called out her mentors because people reaching down a hand and helping up the next person, uplifting together, that it moves all of us forward. I know I'm a coach and I do this, but I still like I do that because I believe in it. I truly believe in it. Also, her speech was filled with wonderful things. So I do want to point out a couple things about Shayna. First of all, she had previously won Best Book pre-broadcast. Sad that's not in the broadcast, but so this was her second win of the evening. And then that speech was just filled with lovely, wonderful quotes. To the wild little girls, go for it. I love that she said, I doubt myself all the time, but you can. That she leaned into the idea of making real change for equality and for justice. Here's this big full quote that I loved. And to all the theater kids out there watching, especially the wild little girls, go for it. You can do it. You are powerful. You are valuable. You are strong. If you doubt yourself, it's okay. I doubt myself all the time, but you can do it. I am rooting for you. Beautiful, beautiful speech. So uplifting, so gorgeous. By the way, hi, if you're joining us, we're going through speech stuff first. Performance stuff is a coming. Don't you wait. No, don't you worry. But wait. Then we had appropriate win. Huzzah! And Brendan Jacobs Jenkins first coming to the mic and first saying, reclaiming my time, I thought was wonderful and fantastic. I'm so glad that he was able to get to the mic and that he was given that space and took that space. Beautiful and efficient speech. Brilliant. Worth a watch if you didn't get an opportunity to watch it. So appropriate one for Play Revival. Stereophonic, as I'm sure we all know at this point, one for Best New Play. It was expected and still great. I'm so glad that it won. Can't wait to see it. I want to point out, took me 11 years to manifest to production. All y'all, 11 years to manifest to production. So if you feel like things are going slow with your show, 11 years for a play to manifest to production. You're right on time. You're right where you need to be. I promise. Also, I love that Playwrights Horizons was key to bringing that show to life and to the stage. And like I said before, almost exactly straight to Broadway. That's not usually done, and I love that. Couple of quotes I wrote down here as well. We need to find the arts in, excuse me, we need to fund the arts in America. It's the hallmark of a civilized society. Agreed. Why aren't we funding the arts in this country? We need to be funding the arts because the gap in funding is a large part of why the inequality is the way it is in our industry. I thought that was so beautiful to have said. Also, I may have heard wrong, but it sounded to me like the head of Play Arts Horizon said that every new play in the category this year came from an off-Broadway theater. Which, if that's true, that's phenomenal. Heck yes. We love off-Broadway. We love regional. We love nonprofits. So that'd be amazing. Revival of a musical. Completely expected win, but merrily we roll along. Huzzah wins. Sonia Friedman, the producer, is the one who spoke here. I did not know until that speech that Maria Friedman, the director, that they're sisters. I had no idea. Did you guys know that? And then I didn't write it down. I couldn't write it down fast enough. And then I couldn't find it afterwards. But does anyone remember the Sondheim quote that Maria Friedman said during that speech time? Because she was given the mic, which is beautiful and wonderful. She should have been able to speak. I'm glad she did. She didn't win for director. Everyone thought she was going to win for director. And so that was a little bit of an upset, but I didn't write down the quote. Did anyone write down the quote? We know. Sarah Paulson won as well for appropriate. I did see appropriate. Her performance was fierce, although also her voice sounded so hoarse the day I was there. So it's a tough play. It's a tough play, and there's no help there in terms of microphones in that theater. So I'm glad that her voice sounded much better as she was giving her speech. Speech that was, again, beautiful and efficient and professional. People from the film industry coming in and really showing how to deliver speech. Love it. Malia Joy Moon, first nomination and win. Oh my God, she's adorable. And I love that she was so genuinely emotional, that she dedicated the award to her parents. Included that her mother was an immigrant at 17 years old. There was just such joy and love and appreciation in her moment. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. Continuing with our speech highlights, we're almost through them at this point. Jonathan Groff wins. Yay, Jonathan! Third nomination and his first win. So well deserved. So well deserved. I will also say that on a personal level, I was stoked because he's also part of the Spark File community, friends with Susan and Lauren. I love that. And it seemed like he even gave a nod to that in his speech by saying, fanning the flame of a young person's passions without judgment. Because that phrase, fanning the flames, is something they talk about a lot in Spark File. But he's such a talented human being and so kind and generous and wonderful. And I think so well known at this point, in large part because of his work in Hamilton and Spring Awakening. And now here he is finally with his first win. I love the themes he hit on support and encouragement and the power of being authentic and living your dream, and the love that he has with Daniel and Lindsay. It all just seems so special, so spectacular. And then, of course, for Best Musical, The Outsiders wins, which I say, of course, meaning you all know that, not like it was expected to win. But I did love from the speech, it's the book, not the author. It's the message, not the messenger. And I think that's important for us all to remember. It's one of the reasons that I hit so hard on the North Star question sets, because it's about the story. It's about the message you're trying to deliver. It's about the relationship to and with the audience. It's about the why of it all. It's the book, not the author, the message, not the messenger. I love that. It's beautiful. Those are the highlights, my highlights of the speeches. So if you missed any of those, feel free to go back and watch them and catch them. I think they are worth a look for sure. But hey, I know y'all are here to hear about performances too, so let's talk about that. Then we'll talk a little bit about what was historic from the evening and some takeaways, key takeaways as well. All right, the performances. We already talked about the opening number. Let's talk about the show performances. Hell's Kitchen. First thing I wrote down is that this cast is huge. It's gigantic. They were dancing their faces off. My goodness. I also really enjoyed the live percussion aspect of the first part of it, because this was a giant medley, like a very, very long medley, a super long medley. Little too long, I think, personally. And after that opening number bit, or the opening part of the medley, there weren't really a lot of people on stage again after that. It seemed that they were highlighting the people who were nominated, which is not a bad thing to do at all, of course. Um, but I don't know quite why the medley was so long. I don't know if anyone has insight on that. Kind of lost my interest after a second. Um, but then obviously they had Alicia Keys. Like, okay, neat, hi, lovely. And then Jay-Z. Um, I've heard people giving kind of a mixed review to that, bringing the two of them in. Like, did it cheapen the feel of the show itself, or did it excite people more to go see the show? I don't know. For me, it didn't excite me more. So I don't know. How did you all feel about that? Our second performance, well, it actually began with an introduction by Pete Townsend, which is cool and I love. Um, cool guy. And then he actually starts playing Pinball Wizard, and it sounded so good, and I love the way it was arranged on his guitar. It was amazing. Um, I thought that performance was actually quite electric and um, high energy, high octane, if you will. And I love Pinball Wizard. I did Tommy, so I'm a little biased. I played Cousin Kevin a million years ago. I had a great time doing it. I did really enjoy in these performances all the nods to the original Broadway production in the look, the costuming, some of the staging, some choreography, even. Uh, looks like it has a great design to it. Looks like it's a lot of fun. I'm curious about it. I know that some people feel a certain way about Tommy, and I understand that as well. I thought the performance was a good showcase. Okay, merrily we roll along. First of all, that cast and that intro video, come on. Come on, the three of them are such nuggets. I just want to squeeze their faces. But that show, if you got a chance to see it, and I hope you did, that show is just so good. So beautiful. Brilliant revival. Brilliant. And I was thrilled to see that they started off with the ensemble on stage. That ensemble is so good. I have hardly ever heard an ensemble sing so well, together, in blend, crisp, clear, gorgeous. And it's a tough score. And that ensemble does a lot of work. So I was glad that they got a moment to shine at the top of the performance. And then the three of them, I wrote, these three warm my effing heart. They do. They really do. But beyond that, look how grounded and specific um, and interconnected, like a team that they were in that performance. Those close-ups, because a lot of these performances were larger, there's a lot more backing up with the cameras. These were intimate close-up shots of the three of them. And it is an intimate show between the three as well. But I don't know, they draw you in. That's really great acting. I saw the show from back. But I mean, it's a small theater, so it's not too far away. But I was in the back for that, and being able to watch what they were doing more close up, and what 6, 7 months after I saw the production was beautiful and wonderful. Those performances are electrifying, and they're just being people on stage with a relationship, and it was just so good. And they sounded great. They sounded wonderful. Okay, I could go on forever. Water for Elephants came next. That stagecraft. Whoa. That was cool. That was really cool. Again, another gigantic cast. Very exciting vocals. Though I don't know what that first song was about. In fact, I don't know. I don't know that I really picked up from Water for Elephants any of what the music itself was about, or what the show is about, or what the story is. I don't know. I never saw the book. I never saw. never read the book or saw the movie, so I'm not really aware. And I didn't get it from the performance, which was interesting. So it seemed to me that they're really highlighting the visuals of the show. Again, another medley. I did love our lovely male harmony moment. That was great. It did also seem like it got off with the percussion for a second, but hey, live shows. You never know what's gonna happen. The dancing though, and the movement, and all of the acrobatics were wonderful. I thought it was great. It was a great spectacle. I have to say, it does make me want to see the show, even though I don't know what the show is about. But it is a spectacle that mostly drew me into that, and the energy of it. I do wish I knew what it was about. Then came Illinois. Okay. They chose a pas de deux. In fact, a pas de deux between two men. Thrilled. Loved it. Has that happened before on the Tonys? I don't know. But that was so beautiful. The romance in it, the dancing was gorgeous. Also, like what they can do, those dancers, blows my mind. Like the strength you have to have, the thighs you have to make all of that happen. The craft in that performance was just mwah. I don't know anything about the story, so I don't know if the inclusion of the other couples is part of the story as it sits on stage. I don't know. It felt to me like we were suddenly highlighting other people that maybe that's not a part of the way that song is presented. But I don't know. Does anyone have insight on that? But Apadita is such an interesting choice. They could have done a bigger ensemble thing. I mean, that's what I see in all their promos. But I loved, again, that intimacy, really showing off the craft of the show. And again, I don't know the story, but I felt things. That one got me. I was like, oh, okay. But just like what a glorious representation at the end of it of panic and anxiety and grief. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Hey, fun, Stereophonic performed. It's not often that we get a play that gets to perform at the Tonys. In fact, I do believe the fans made such a stink about Stereophonic not getting to perform that they then had a slot to perform. It was short, but it was fun. I'm very excited to see the show. Yeah, I don't know. Most nominated play in history. So cool. Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. Because this is not cabaret, this is specifically cabaret at the Kit Kat Club. Do with that as you will. I did like that intro video a lot. I thought that was really beautiful and well done. This performance was interesting. The close-ups with Eddie Redmayne, I've heard quite a few people say they made them uncomfortable or they turned them off to the show. They definitely didn't pull me in. Yeah, I don't know how I felt about it. How'd you all feel about it? I'm not sure what to do with this interpretation of the show and the visual and the feeling of it. Now, obviously, I know that the show is being done in a theater where they get to be truly more immersive and around the audience. And that's not what you get at the Tony Awards like at all. So yeah, didn't quite do it for me. I did love how many arms we got to see. There was a lot of arms out there. Good arms. And the dancing was good. I did enjoy the movement. I think, enjoy the design. I guess I'm intrigued, but I'm not going to run to see it based on that performance and with the current ticket prices. But for any Drag Race fans, Marsha, Marty is going in for a whole bunch of performances upcoming. So take a look at that schedule. This is not so much a performance, but Josh Gad and Andrew Rannells got an opportunity to come out and do a bit for representation of Gutenberg. It was weird. It was silly. It was funny. It was fun. I particularly enjoyed the bit. Imagine it. Phantom of the Opera playing his own damn pipe organ. I thought that was great. And then also pulling in the Tony Awards rules on a PowerPoint presentation for why they were nominated in the revival category, even though the show had never been on Broadway before. I thought that was a lot of fun. They just kind of like called out truth for being truth and then went from there. Andrew Rannells spilling a little tea on the carpet, I hear, pulling out of Tammy Faye. If anyone has info on that, I'd be curious. This was not for one of the shows, but then we also had our lovely Cheetah Rivera tribute, separate from the In Memoriam. And I thought that was really beautifully well done and a great show of her career by three gorgeous, incredible artists, Phoebe Newworth and Brian Stokes Mitchell and Audra McDonald, and obviously Ariana danced through it. And I thought that was a really lovely tribute. That was beautifully done. And Cheetah is a giant in this industry. So well known. Who doesn't know Cheetah Rivera? Actually, I bet some of the youngins don't know Cheetah Rivera. I was lucky enough to see her on Broadway, and I'm grateful for that. Our next performance was from Souths. First thing I wrote down was, Shayna sounds great. And she did. I love that they chose the finale for this. I know some people were like, well, didn't really represent the show. Like, you're not getting the story. You're not getting a sense that it's not just a serious moment, a serious show. I hear that, I get it, but I also think it was a smart choice to choose something that we could introduce our lead briefly and then move out to an ensemble feel. If you're gonna do an ensemble feel, wouldn't you want to do an uplifted one and keep marching on? It's such a good idea. And this show is so steeped in activism at the same time. I thought it was a smart choice personally. And they sounded so good. I love hearing female a cappella moments and just like a harmonic moments. They are few and far between. And just hearing the music again, it just made me excited. That show has constantly been on my mind since I saw it. And so if you haven't got an opportunity and you're considering it, I highly, highly suggest it. I'm actually going to be doing a full review video. My first full musical review is going to be of Souths, and it's upcoming. We're going to really break it down. It won't be a live. It'll be a video. But keep an eye out for that. The Outsiders. They were the last of the big shows to perform. I just said, wow, the energy, the youth, the dancing, the muscles, the voices, and the hair. I think that pretty much sums it up. I do enjoy that the medley gave a mixture of some more classic Broadway feels and some of the writing and some more modern Broadway feels, while nodding to the time period of the story in which the story takes place. I thought that was really lovely. Again, I've not seen this show, but I was pulled in by the performance. I thought the energy was wonderful. The dancing was fantastic. But then obviously we have to talk about the rain. I don't know where in the story that fight takes place. No idea. But rain on stage at the Tonys for choreographed fighting. It was like the fight dancing of West Side Story, but with the ante heavily upped. It was so good. And the fight choreography in the water and smart, beautiful, stunning. Yeah, I can't wait to see that again and see it live. I'm so excited. And to do that on the Tonys, I can't imagine what they had to pull off in order to make it rain on the Tonys safely. And then I do just want to mention that the In Memoriam, what I wrote down was, how dare they use What I Did for Love in Just a Ghost's Life? Tears immediately. It was beautifully done. And going through that slideshow, I guess I didn't realize how many giants in the industry we lost this year. There were so many big names, people on stage and behind. And it was just, it was a sad moment. All right, let's talk about some records here, some milestone moments. Shayna Tao is the first woman to ever win the Tony Award for both Best Book and Best Score of a Musical on her own, as her own writer, no collaborator. First woman. Why did it take till now? What? What? Huh? Huh? 2024? Man, sometimes I feel like we're making progress, and then I hear that that's a record now in 2024, and I'm like, why? That just blows my mind. Very well deserved, in my opinion. Very well deserved. Um, Also, some other historics here. More female directors were nominated for Tony Awards than any other ceremony in history, which I adore. I adore. Shada Taub, also, she was quoted as saying, "There's a place for us female creators." I think that's an understatement. Not only is there a place, it seems like the female creators were driving this entire season, and I'm here for it. I am here for it. Who else? Who else? Do do do. Oh, the costume design win for Jaja's African hair braiding, which I missed, and I'm so mad that I missed it. I wanted to see it so bad, it just didn't work out with my schedule for me to be able to get there. Dee Dee had 3 Tony nominations in the same ceremony for her costuming, and 1 for Best Costume Design of Jaja's African hair braiding. First Black woman to win for costume design. Again, what? How is that possible? And yet here we are, and I'm so glad that has happened now. And I love that she was quote saying, I'm hoping inspires other young designers to know when it feels impossible, even when they're unsure, to just keep moving forward. Beautiful, wonderful. And then, oh, we had our first hair and wig design win at the Tony Award. It was a special Tony. Why is that a special Tony? Why isn't that just like a Tony? And why isn't musical direction a Tony? And why isn't best ensemble a Tony? I have so many questions about the Tony Awards. Sorry, that's not what today's about. And then we also already mentioned this, but again, want to double down. Carrie Young made history as the first Black woman to be nominated for a Tony Award in 3 consecutive years. First Black woman to be nominated for a Tony Award in 3 consecutive. Just like letting that sit. Why is that new? I'm glad it's happening. Why is that new? Some other things. Jonathan Tunick. Okay, we all know Jonathan Tunick, yes? Famous orchestrator for so many things, so many pieces, a resume that stretches on for years, miles. I'd mix my metaphors. Space and time are the same thing. And this is the first time that he won for a Stephen Sondheim score. And he was like Sondheim's main guy. How's that possible? I love it so much. So he orchestrated the original production in 1981. He did a much smaller revision for the 1990s of the show. But then this orchestration was somewhere in the middle. I love this orchestration, by the way. It was beautiful, it was wonderful, and that pit is killing it, nailing it. Shout out to the horns. But this Broadway revival is the first time that he has won for this show or for any Sondheim score, and that took 43 years from originally orchestrating it to getting the award for this show. What? Don't give up, my friends. Don't give up. And then just a quick shout out to the American Theater Wing. I love that they gave a video and showed truly what it is that they do, the work that they do, the advocacy, because they're working, they're doing the things. Yes, they put on the Tony Awards, and that's probably what most of us know them for. But they're constantly doing work behind the scenes, especially with young people in creating opportunity and access. And I thought that was lovely that they had a spotlight during the show. Cool. Let's talk about some final last minute things on this. Some industry impact, some wrap up material. I think it's important to point out that nobody swept. There was no one who swept the award show this year. And that's kind of lovely. Not that I don't like necessarily when a show is clearly the highest art of the season, and I guess I don't like that. I don't know. We just need a whole bunch of good art on Broadway, and then the awards can be spread out. Because like again, when it comes to Best Musical, and I didn't get to see them all, but I wasn't sure who was gonna win, and that felt good. Feels nice to not know going in, like, oh, I think it's going to be XYZ. So yeah, throwing that out there. The Outsiders took home the top prize, obviously, and then I believe they won in 3 other categories. So that's 4. Notable that Best Musical +3 feels good, but none of these 3 were for book and score, right? Book and score went to Suffs. I think that's all they won with book and score. And then I think the bigger surprise for everyone, though I don't know that it surprised me. The fact that Hell's Kitchen got 13 nominations is what surprised me, but they only won 2. So do with that what you will. And then the biggest show take home of the evening was Stereophonic, and they walked away with 5, including Best Play. So that's pretty good. I like having a spread across the awards because don't forget, the Tony Awards are a vehicle. They help promote the shows and their art and help get tickets sold. There's always a bump after the Tony Awards. They also help make it possible for shows to then have a longer life here, abroad, on tour, in publishing and licensing. So no matter how we feel about the Tony Awards and their flaws on the whole, they're important. They're a big open gift to all these shows to say, here, have a continued life. And so spreading out the awards really helps in that regard, I think, because then you can say the Tony Award winning blah blah blah. So back to Must Matter and the thoughts. Those is my reactions. Good, Michael. Those are my reactions, and that's my review. I'd be curious to know more about what you all thought about the award show and its place and how you felt about it and all of the performances. So please feel free to put your comments down below. And in the meantime, my friends, I hope you have a wonderful week. 2 weeks. I'll see you soon for another live stream. Be well. Talk to y'all later. Bye, everyone. Peace out.